listening to the Technical Staff and Theatre Workers podcast. It's the podcast in which I talk to people who work backstage in the technical theatre industry about how they got in, their experiences, and any advice they can give to anyone getting in. This is episode 4 of season 4. A big thank you to everyone who's downloaded the show, everyone who's listening to the show. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone you know who's interested in theatre and those who aren't interested in theatre, because it might make them interested in theatre. Yes, thank you so much for all the downloads. It's been really good so far, so really enjoying it. And without further ado, let's get on to our next guest. I'm here with my guest this time. If you'd like to introduce yourself and tell me what your current job title is.
Hi, my name is Jordan, and I am a West End Dep.
Yes, a multiple West End
Dep. A multiple West End Dep.
Excellent.
Yeah.
How did you get into theatre?
Oh, it's all I ever wanted to do. Like, I started as a performer. Like, you come up through community theatres, don't you?
Like a lot of us did.
And Amdram. I trained at uni to be a performer. Came out, performed on a few contracts, and then I was like, you know what, this doesn't sit well with me at all. It's just not my thing.
Right, okay.
Ironically, I thought it was always my thing. But then I came to back of house after COVID.
Right.
My husband had also trained as an actor. He went back of house, and I was like, you know what? I think there's got to be something for me back there. So here I am.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So you trained. Where did you train?
At the University of Cumbria.
Ooh.
I know, I'm not a drama school baby.
Oh, you see, you've got a bit of an accent as well, haven't you?
I do.
So.
I'm from Herefordshire.
Oh, right, okay.
The land of Bulmer cider and Tyrrell's crisps.
Excellent. and then you went up north.
Yeah. And it's purely, I'm from quite a rural area, and I didn't want to go anywhere absolutely massive.
Fair enough.
But it was, I really enjoyed my time there. It was a really good course. Unfortunately, those courses don't exist now. They've had their funding withdrawn.
Yeah, that's a real shame.
Yeah, but I had a lovely time there.
Yeah,
it was great.
Cumbria's great.
Yeah.
Okay. What was your first? Let's say, what was your first job in theatre, and what was your first backstage job in theatre?
Okay, so my first job out of uni, I got
paid job.
Yeah. Was I was hired to go to the Edinburgh Fringe in a show called The Hunting of the Snark, and it was like a children's family.
Love The Hunting of the Snark.
But it was a different version. A lot of people say this, but this was like a children's and family version, and we had a lovely time. So I went to Edinburgh with that show, and then it got picked up to come into town.
There was a TV show in the 90s called Big Break, which had Jim Davidson on it.
Oh, okay.
And the theme tune was from Hunting of the Snark.
Oh, okay.
It's only a game, so put up a real good fight. That's from Hunting of the Snark.
Yeah, so I did a children's and family version. Did that. Came into town with it. Went to Edinburgh. Came into town with it and did it as like a kids show at the Vaudeville.
Yeah.
Then that did go out to Australia, and I did get to go with it, which was quite cool.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
But then back of house, my first job was To Kill a Mockingbird at the Gielgud in stage crew.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I really wanted that job.
Pretty cool as well.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it.
Brilliant. So, since you decided to come back of house, first of all, did you have any issues? With people you felt people holding you back, or not liking? How do I put this? You not being liked for some reason by somebody, and people holding you back in both your performance and your backstage.
Yeah, performing I definitely found a lot harder. I'm not to say like unique looking, but nobody really knows where to place me.
Right.
So I mean, they didn't really know what to do with me, and I didn't really know where to put myself. So then I actually fell out of love with the performing side, and that's why I came back of house. Back of house, I actually find far more welcoming.
Right.
Personally, I felt like I really found my tribe of people, just the work is different. I mean, like, we've worked together over a few months now, like on and off, as I see you each day, and like we've always had a nice chat.
Yeah.
And I found that really welcoming. So, and funny, getting To Kill a Mockingbird came off the back of an interview I didn't get. I interviewed to do Les Mis and didn't get it. And I was like, oh, well, do you know what? It was a nice time. It was nice to be seen.
Yeah.
And then I got a call like 3 days later being like, hi, we need an extra body. Will you be that body? And I was like, you're taking a risk on someone who's never done this, and I really appreciate that. And it was really lovely. It was a really welcoming and a really lucky break into it, to be honest.
Yeah, I find there's a lot of, not all the time, because it does work the other way, but there's a lot of the time people are willing to give somebody more of a chance, I think, in the backstage side of it, rather than...
I agree.
If you're that little bit more known when it comes to performance, you're more likely to get a role than if you're not known, or if, like you say, if you have a different look. Or
Absolutely.
But also, I found that back in the day when I first started coming around, they put down on job, when they advertise jobs, even when they advertise shows, we want somebody like this, looks like this, is like this. You're not allowed to do that anymore, obviously, because you can't, but sometimes I think that might be a bit of a bad thing.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you have to open the doors wide.
Yeah.
And because some people aren't in a position that they can train.
Yeah.
They might be the best technician we've ever seen in our lives, and they've got like natural skills.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess because of the way I came through everything, I'm very much for, I think everybody at least deserves a shot.
Yes.
At least a try. And for example, for myself, I started in stage crew, but I'm really lucky that I now ASM on other shows, which is lovely.
Let's talk about that actually. What other shows do you work on?
So at the moment, I do the Book of Mormon as stage crew.
Yeah.
I'm an auto dep for Hadestown, and I do assistant stage managing cover for Mamma Mia. But awesome. When I was at like the peak of my depping, I was doing so this would have been like 2022. I was doing 5 different shows and 11 different plots.
Well, there you go, you see.
Yeah, so...
But that makes you valuable as well.
It does, and it really actually helped me to realise where my strengths lie. Like, me as an automation technician isn't my natural field. I can do a deck spotting plot absolutely fine, but if you went up that and programmed that, I'd be like, oh gosh, like, that's not my jam. And I've realised that, but I'm more than happy to go in and cover people. Whereas my skills lie in being, like, on the deck, either moving the set or, like, in stage management side, like more props and like people management, and that's where I thrive the best.
Is that the ultimate goal then, do you feel?
My ultimate goal would be just to ASM depth full time.
Right, okay.
I honestly really like the freelancing. I like making my own schedule, because for me, working on contract has not always been that easy.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
And again, I'm in the privileged position that my husband isn't a full-time head of stage role. Right. So thank you for the marital rights to be a freelancer. So I do understand I have a little bit more leeway than maybe others do. So.
But that's also good because you don't, because one of the worst things that you can have in this industry is also one of the best things is that if you're on a long running show, while it's great you've got that stability, it can also get quite monotonous.
Yeah.
So if you've got that choice of doing 4 or 5 different shows, you never get that monotony.
Yeah, and like when I first started doing it, it was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing now? And it was like meeting new people all the time, and now I've kind of found my way as how I integrate myself into departments. Like I'll come to you and be like, right, question of the day is, and it's just a really nice way to get to know people, like, because I understand I'm coming into their show first and I need to integrate into how it runs, not come in and change everything. My job is to come in and cover and have a nice time while we're doing it. So, yeah. Oh,
brilliant. So what would you say are the pros and cons of working in this industry?
Oh, gosh. The pros are... It's really hard. That's a really hard question, purely because the first thing that comes to my mind are the cons.
Yes, which is always the hours.
It's the hours. The hours are so relentless. And again, I think this is why I love freelancing, and depping more.
Because you can choose to.
I'm in charge of my schedule.
Yeah.
Maybe I just don't like being bossed around or told what I can't do, Bram. I'm going to be honest. Maybe that's it. Being completely honest, I found, like I said, contractual work sometimes exceptionally hard. And I don't mean that in the sense of I don't want to work hard. I'm more than happy to do that.
Yeah.
But I think the industry is shifting quite a bit, sometimes to the detriment of it, well, a lot of the time to the detriments of its staff, especially when you're opening something.
Yes.
I've opened 4 shows. They've all been very different experiences.
Yes.
And one was so hard that I can't even explain. Everybody had lost loads of weight. Everybody was so tired.
Yes, you work all the time.
Yeah, and I literally, all I did was like commute, tech, fit up, whatever, sleep.
And there's a thing that it used to be, it's not so much anymore, but it still is there, that we used to work until the job was done. Mm-hmm. And now no other industry does that.
No.
You always have to have these. And it's coming in a lot more with the health and safety and the mental health stuff, that you do get more breaks and you do get longer off. But it used to be you'd be here until 1 o'clock in the morning and you'd be back at 7 o'clock the next morning.
And it's relentless.
And it was constant.
And I think it doesn't actually help anyone. It doesn't benefit anyone. And I'm not saying that we all need to only do like 6 hours. I understand that when we're mounting something brand new, or if we're in tech or in a cash change, hours do need to be put in extra. That's fine, and I'm not against that. But I do think sometimes it goes too far, and it is actually detrimental to the show as a whole.
You get to the day that the show's opening and everybody's absolutely exhausted.
Yeah, or press night where we all should be really celebrating, and actually everybody wants to go to bed because it's the first. It's relief. There's this like relief of we did it, and again that is a pro. Like on the flip side, opening something brand new it can be incredible.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, it can be like the best camaraderie you've ever seen in your life. It really depends on the teams and the shows that are being established at the time. But yeah, definitely there's a real good sense of camaraderie. Back of house, I think there is more leeway to really kind of test the waters and see what you find.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not an automation technician. I'm not a mechanic. And I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that when I was offered the first cover contract at Les Mis, but I know that now. But I love the variety I've had. I love bouncing about from show to show. I love the people I meet along the way. I've been really fortunate. It's quite nice to have your husband work in the same industry as well, because I can go home and he actually knows what I'm talking about. So that's quite helpful.
And also you work similar hours. So
yeah, we do.
You actually get to see each other.
Yeah, and like I've been really fortunate again getting to Kill a Mockingbird and saying on the pros. A lot of that came through personal connections. I've been like, oh, I've got this email for someone and they're looking for someone.
Yeah.
And I have a really nice core, solid circle, a very small circle of friends where we would be like, I've got you. I've heard this is going out. Yeah.
Excellent. So coming from a performer background, what would you say is a common misconception of somebody who's trying to get into the backstage side of it? What do they think it might be that it actually isn't?
Yeah, a lot of people thought when I was coming in, they were like, oh, you're just doing this to get by. And I was like, no, I'm really... Like, I'm done. Like, I'm done performing. Yeah. I'm good. And it took me quite a while for people to realise that I was really not going to perform anymore.
Right, yeah.
And there are people that do both, don't get me wrong, and that can work for them. But again, it's like some people looked at me when I first came in the door and they were like, oh, you're going to be a bit of like a dolly bird and you're going to like just flounce around and not work that hard. I will graft hard. And like, do you know what I mean? I'm not bothered. But I do think that's a common misconception sometimes, especially as a woman in the industry.
Yes.
Sometimes it's also like, oh, but can you? Well, let me try first before you go, can I?
Let me show you that I can.
Yeah, let me show you that I can. But also, if there isn't something I can't do, I will tell you that I can't, and there is always usually a way around it. The same as like if anybody else walked in the building, if there was something that needed adapting within the parameters of what we can accommodate. Yeah. But yeah, I find being a woman in crew to start with a little bit like, oh, do you want me to? No, I can do it. I'm okay. Yeah. Thank you for offering, but I can do it. Let me have a go first.
This is the thing. There's no harm in offering to help. No, it's the way you offer.
Yeah, I completely agree with this because I've often heard people be like, oh, you shouldn't offer. No, it's fine to offer. Because I think that's just trying to create an environment of somebody just trying to be helpful sometimes. Yes. But I genuinely think that was quite difficult.
If you offer in a certain way, it brings up the presumption that they can't do it.
Yeah,
and it's not necessarily the case. If you offer just to help,
they're two different things.
Yeah, they're two absolutely different things.
100%, I completely agree with you on that.
Yes,
but but I just kind of really integrated myself as quickly as I could and was like, let me try.
Yes.
You want me to do a maintenance call? Let me see if I can do a maintenance call because I've never done one. So let's say yes first and then be like,
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not great at that, but I'm actually quite good at this. Or, do you know what? I'm really good at rallying a crew.
Yeah.
I really am. Like, that's my thing. I can be like hype woman for days. Give me
Only that was a job title.
Oh my gosh, I should be like West End hype woman. Yeah, like I can rally a team. If somebody's having a bad day, the way I seem to integrate myself is like I can be that listening ear.
Yeah.
And that is also a side of our industry that sometimes gets on the wayside, that we spend a lot of our time here.
Yes.
So let's be like, we can't always give 100 all the time. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. But sometimes we do need to be there for each other as people as well as colleagues.
Yes, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Excellent. What advice would you give to anybody trying to get into the industry?
Be open to opportunities. Don't get ahead of yourself. Like, be willing to learn. By that I mean, like, I understand a lot of people who listen to this have probably graduated from a course. Like, you know your industry within that course, and that's amazing. But integrating that into a working role, I find, is very different.
Yes.
Every show is different. So what you will learn on that one might not be exactly the same on the next one, but you can carry forward things that you have learned.
Yes. Every team is different.
Every team is different.
Dynamic is different.
Yeah, every show is different. Every team dynamic is different. Every show is different. you are going to grow throughout it. Sometimes you'll be able to look at something and be like, oh, actually, could I make a suggestion? This might work better. Try that suggestion before you shoot it down. Try it.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, be like, that doesn't work, but this might.
Yes.
And it's that communication of really being open and willing and have those conversations. I also think if you're not sure which department you necessarily lie in, don't be afraid to try different things and see, because you don't know what you might be really good at. And you might be like, oh my gosh, this is what I always needed to do. And now I find it. And again, to do that, I really rate depping. I do. It's a good way to kind of find your feet without being full-time if that's not something you want. And again, there's no harm in taking a limited contract either. I think some people get very put off by a limited contract.
Yes.
But, if you've got like 3 months in and out and you didn't like it, it was only 3 months.
Yes.
Not a 12-month contract where you're stuck, potentially.
But it's 3 months where you have a job,
Yeah.
but your name is out there. People know you, and it's such a small industry that if people know you and like you, that 3-month contract that you hated may lead to something that you really love.
It's all about connection, isn't it, I find?
Yes, absolutely.
And whether you do or don't get on.
Yes.
And that's okay. I think sometimes as well in our industry, it's so forced upon us that we all have to get on all the time. We are just human beings.
Yeah.
We are all just trying to do our best. And sometimes personalities do not click, and that is okay. We just need to get to a state that isn't completely completely saddened for anybody, if that makes sense. As long as you can all work together, that's okay. Not everybody's going to be our best friend, and that's all right too.
Yeah.
But as long as there is a healthy working environment, I'm here for that.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Brilliant. And that's everything I've got.
That's everything.
That's everything. Thank you
so fun.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. A big thank you to Jordan there. Fantastic. She's got great enthusiasm for the job and for the industry. It's really nice to see somebody who used to be a performer who's coming backstage again, a little bit like Izzy early on in the season. So it's really nice to chat to people who were on the stage or performing in a capacity who have decided to make the move to backstage. Really good chat. Thank you so much for listening to this. Thank you so much for downloading it. It's been really great, really loving it so far, and long may it continue. Thank you to all the guests that have been on, and I shall see you all next week.